Welcome to Sib Spot. Today's stories are from Am I the Bad Guy? Story 1 is by SBO 141. Am I the bad guy for not making pancakes? So my wife is constantly changing things, and I don't like it. Be the way I cook or the plans I make, for example. The past few years, I've had enough. And if she starts changing plans or meals, I shut down and walk away from her and let her finish cooking, or doing whatever task she thinks she's better at, and then messing it up to let me fix it later, or don't do my plan or her plan. Well, that brings us to yesterday. I mentioned to my son the night before that it's pancake day. He's excited like he is every Friday night before bed, and we do a little song and dance, and he heads to bed. Yesterday morning, when I went to get things ready, she asked what I was doing. I told her pancake day, and she gets upset and says we have fruit. I said, to go with the pancakes? Cool, chop it up. She said, no, we don't need pancakes. Just eat the fruit, it's going to go bad. I said, what do you mean? We finished the strawberries and raspberries for breakfast with our oatmeal Friday. The only thing left is a mango and a peach. She gets upset and says I'm wasting food. I poured my cup of coffee and went to the living room. 30 minutes later, my son wakes up. He gets angry when it wasn't pancake day anymore. My wife said, you know what? Cook it. I said, no, I don't feel like it. You make them. She said she doesn't know how, and she doesn't make them as good, and she gets upset because the toddler is flipping out for pancakes. I told her I'm tired of her changing things, only to change it back when it no longer benefits her, and she can deal with him. She ended up toasting a bagel for him. She's still angry that I didn't cook for my son, and I told her she could have made it, but she refused, and she should have told him the same thing. I'm tired of her plans changing and affecting me, then making me look bad because she doesn't like it when I refuse to help after her choices. You were asking, are you the bad guy? You are. And your wife kinda is as well. It seems like you guys do not have a good relationship, and it's affecting your kid. Also, if your toddler is flipping out because he's not having pancakes, he's not being raised well either. It sounds like you guys need to have some cohesion together. What should have happened is you should have just made pancakes anyway and said, no, I'm not going to eat the fruit. If it goes to waste, it goes to waste. I'm not having fruit today. I told my son we're having pancakes, we're having pancakes. The fact that you poured yourself a cup of coffee and walked away and refused to cook for your kid after you did a little song and dance with him makes you the bad guy as well in this. So it is your fault and her fault. You guys need to get your stuff together. Our next story is by Sister Throwaway 126. Am I the bad guy for telling my sister's boyfriend the truth about her allergy? My sister and I live in different territories. She lives 4,000 kilometers south of here, so a 2-day drive or 4.5-hour flight away. We try to have a visit at least once a year. This time she brought her boyfriend to visit. I've never met him in person, only over a video call. She says they are thinking of living together. They stayed home in my guest room. On the 6th day of their stay here, her boyfriend had a freak out on me because I was preparing a meal for us and he saw I had a food in my kitchen that my sister is, quote, allergic to. I put allergic in quotes because she isn't allergic to anything. Her boyfriend thought she was. She's told him she had a deadly allergy to a certain food. She went so far as to purchase EpiPens and wear a medical bracelet. She had told him stories about almost dying from accidentally or unknowingly eating this food when we were kids. Her boyfriend was angry I had it in my kitchen and did not clean my kitchen and cooking utensils before their visit, which I would have done if my sister was really allergic, but she isn't. She hates it, but she isn't allergic, and to me, there is a big difference. If there was ever even a chance my sister was allergic, I wouldn't have had it in my kitchen. I told her boyfriend the truth, that my sister hates it but she's not allergic, that she's always hated the food. Now she's furious at me. Note that I had the food item she hates in my kitchen because I like it, but I wasn't putting it in any meal for my sister because I know she hates it. I'm not removing the food from my house because she doesn't like it though. She's furious that I told him the truth. She argued with me. Her boyfriend argued with her. The last day and a half of their visit was awkward. From what I got from my sister, she started telling everyone she was allergic when she went to university so she wouldn't have to eat it. I was already in university here, so I didn't know she was telling people this. Our parents were divorced and we lived with Mom. Dad lives on the other side of the country, 3,700 kilometers away. We did see him, but Mom was the one who did everything for us. Our relationship with Dad is better since Mom passed away. But Dad, his wife, and his sister would not know my sister had an allergy and would take her word for it. Her boyfriend has met them, as the three of them are my sister's only family besides me. Basically, my sister says I should have gone along with her lie and not told her boyfriend the truth. She says the difference between hating and allergy is small and I shouldn't have told him. She's furious at me. Was I wrong to tell him the truth? Abso-flippin-lutely not, and it sounds like your sister might be insane a little bit. Some people will make up stories about themselves, like say they got assaulted, say they have an allergy just because they like the attention from it. And she has this little bracelet on so everybody sees that she's just deathly allergic. Oh, look at me. She likes attention, is what it is. Ideally, they're going to be straight up and honest with each other. Plus, there was a reply in the comments by BeagleBait68 that laid it out pretty straightforward. You're not the bad guy. Faking an allergy is very dangerous because if she fakes a reaction, she's going to get a shot, which is going to result in a trip to the ER. She needs to grow up and own up. And also, she said that hating things and being allergic to them are pretty similar. No, they're not. One can kill you. The other is just, I don't like that. Our last story is by AITA. Am I the bad guy for how payment was handled for my wedding? I am genuinely conflicted on this as I see both sides, so getting feedback from all of you. I recently got married at a venue about 200 miles away from where I live, so many things were done virtually, and I hadn't met many of these people in person that I planned the wedding with. For payments, our venue required a deposit, a payment 6 months before our wedding date, then a final payment once the charges were finalized, based on headcount. Our first 2 payments were made as scheduled with no issues. We finalized our headcount and we settled on a final amount for all services rendered. The final amount was around $15,000. The vendor allowed payment through a check by mail or someone dropping off the check in person. Being out of state, we opted to mail in the check. I sent out a check to the venue through the online bill pay and got a confirmation the payment was to be delivered the day of the wedding, which was a Saturday. I had a confirmation number from my bank that the payment was sent and money was taken out of my account. The wedding was wonderful and I enjoyed the next day, Sunday, with my husband. We received a text from the vendor. She still had not gotten the check. I looked at my bank account and see the check was sent with a delivery date on the next day, Monday. I shared a screenshot of this with the vendor, including the confirmation number. I offered to call my bank with her on the line as confirmation. I offered to Venmo or Zelle her the money. She insisted on a physical check, which I do not have as I'm out of town. She told us she would withhold our items left behind, unused favors, the top of our cake, guest book, other items. I explained again how the check would be there tomorrow, and I offered to Venmo or Zelle again, and she refused to accept anything except a physical check. I had to spend over 30 minutes on the phone with my bank to stop payment on the check, which cost $50. Then I had to transfer the money to my mom so her check would clear. Then I had to drive back to my mom's house to physically get the check, about 30 minutes, then back to the venue to hand deliver the check, 45 minutes. When we got to the venue, the manager, not the person I had been texting with, thanked me for the check and told me not to worry about it, as it would be put into the lockbox and they don't cash checks until Tuesday. At this point, I asked why I had to spend the day after my wedding running around town when my check wouldn't be cashed for a few days, and the original check was due tomorrow. We argued back and forth, no yelling, just trying to understand what happened. I 100% understand and agree that the vendor must be paid for services rendered, but I am frustrated I had to spend the morning after my wedding running around doing this only to learn it wouldn't be cashed until Tuesday, after my payment was to arrive. Am I the bad guy for being upset that I had to spend my morning like this and arguing with the manager when I dropped off the check? This is another one that I've got mixed feelings on. What I don't understand is they said they sent the check to the venue through online bill pay. So the check was in the mail coming to them. And they just hadn't received it yet, so they were withholding items, which is reasonable. They can hold it till they get the check, and it might arrive a day late or whatever. Most people seem to say she's the bad guy in this one. They labeled her as such. They had to spend an hour and 45 minutes handling this and spent $50 extra to get the check hand delivered to them. 30 minutes on the phone, 30 minutes to physically get the check, and then 45 minutes to go out to the venue and deliver the check. That's not that long to handle the issue. So I feel like I feel like some people are saying they're the bad guy because they just spent $15,000 on their wedding and the person was waiting for that check to come to them. $15,000. I would withhold stuff too. Like, that's a big chunk of money. Like, give me the check, then you can have your stuff. Our stories have come to a close for today. Until we meet again, have a beguiling day.